we are going to be working on the Maple King today. So here is an example. I made the cape a little differently on this one than I have in the envelope. I kind of improved upon it. So anyway, you can see his little crown here, and then he's got his little leaf pouch. And on the leaf pouch, there's optional stitching to make the veins in the leaves. So you don't have to do this stitching if you don't want to. But I put it in there just in case. And then also on the pattern you'll see two little marks, and that's where you stop the stitching so you don't have it completely open. I think I have one over now. I think I did it on all of them. Yeah. So you want to just stitch just a little bit and then holds them in there a little bit better. So then he just goes into his little pouch and he's ready to be on your nature table or on your centerpiece for your Thanksgiving table, or just to play. And if your kids really wanted to, you could finger knit a string and then make it into a little necklace. Also on your pattern sheet, you'll see a bonus hat pattern. It's for this hat and collar, and then it's this collar right here. So, okay, so I've already pre-cut out my pattern pieces. I've already threaded my needle with 3 strands and knotted the end. So, first thing is we're going to do the finger puppet. So you're going to want to put your tunic on to the body. Now you have 2 options. You could glue it onto the body, or what I do is I actually stitch it. So I'm going to put the needle into the inside top corner, and then I'm going to come around to the outside of this other side. And stitch it closed. Okay, and then you're just going to keep weaving back and forth. So I'm going to go inside. Hopefully you can see this. Go inside. Pull tight. Not too tight, obviously. And then you're going to come to the outside of the other side. Just make sure your stitches are straight. Okay, or if you don't want to do it that way, if that's a little bit too complicated, then you can just whip stitch. So I'm going to come out on the outside here, and I'm going to go through both sides. Yeah, I'm going to go through both sides, outside in, go through the inside and come back out. Okay, and then come back over here, go through both again. So this is a little bit more basic because you're just going in the same side, going through the inside and back out the back again. This is a whip stitch. Okay, almost done. Alright, so then when you go to finish, you're just going to go into the one side, don't come out through, and then pull that, and then I go in between the two where that stitch is that I just did, and then go into the loop, pull that tight, and then you can kind of hide it a little bit there. I'm going to trim it. Okay, so got our tunic on. All right, next we're going to put the cape on. And by the way, if you don't like how it's up high like this, where it kind of bags, you can trim that if you want to. It doesn't bother me, so. But these are completely customizable. All right, so let me reknot my end here. And trim my tail. All right, so I'm going to go on the inside and just come down just where the curve is coming. And I'm going to go ahead and stick that stitch in there. It'll kind of help put it on the king a little better. Now you can have it up higher like that, or you can bring it down a little bit to where the bottom is even with the bottom of the tunic. If you're going to bring it down, I would recommend you bringing your stitch line up. I'm going to have it be up a little bit. Alright, and then you're just going to stretch across here to the other side, trying to keep your thing even there, so. Okay. You're going to want to pull tightly. And then you're going to want to come back over to your first hole. And then you can just go right back to your second hole. Oops, oops, oops. There we go. And then pull tautly. See, when you pull tightly, it kind of fixes that gape in the front a little bit. Bring my tunic down a little, if that's okay. All right, and then if you can go squeeze in there and go through that. Whoops. I pulled mine pretty tight, so I gotta really squeeze it in there. Go back in almost all the way. I'm just gonna do a knot there. Actually gonna bring it through just to really bury that. And trim. Okay, so now we've got that part on. Okay, and then we have the crown. So again, you can glue the crown on. Up to you. Sometimes it's easier just to fold the edge there and then whip stitch it and then put it on their head. So I'm going to do that. Okay, so put the ends together from inside. Ow! Excuse me. From inside and then pull through. Okay, and then you're going to just come through both sides and pull through. Just make sure that your stitch is actually, I don't know how you can see it, that it's actually straight across, because sometimes it'll get a little wonky. And you're going to come back to the side facing you and go through both sides again. Okay. And then you're just going to keep doing that. You're always going at the same side. And I'm doing really tiny stitches. I don't know if you can see how tiny the stitches are. Maybe like that would be a better way. Yeah, there you go. You can see how tiny. Okay, last stitch is at the very top. Now this time, before you get your loop all the way, bring your needle through and through one more time. That'll knot it off. And then I like to actually go down through, might help if I do it like this, down through the stitches like that. Bring my tail, then trim at the bottom. Okay. And should be able to put it on their head like so. And you can glue it on if you've got little ones that might pull it off and lose it. You can just adjust it the way that you want it. Now another thing you can do is you can actually take a wood burner and wood burn some eyes. And then you can also take a red crayon, like a Stockmar crayon, and put it on some knit fabric and then rub it on the cheeks to pink them. Okay. So now we're going to put our leaf pouch together. Now, for the optional embroidery, it's easier if you start at the base. That's really the top, but the way I'm holding it's the base of your maple leaf. And you're just going to do a running stitch. So I've pulled it through. And now I'm just going to put it in and then just go back and forth, in and out, until you've got a couple stitches on there. Now these don't have to be perfectly spaced or anything like that. And then you just pull through. Make sure you don't pull tight because you don't want it to buckle. And you can see, so you're going to just do that for all of the optional stitching. Okay, and it doesn't have to be a perfectly straight line. I mean, these aren't perfect, so. Okay, and then to go ahead and go to this side, you can just go ahead when you get to the top and start those running stitches and just try to keep the needle aimed at the point of the leaf, and that way you'll be close enough. Okay. So totally up to you if you want to have all that done and how you want to go about it. Alright, so I'm just going to tie it off on that end. I like to double knot just to make sure the stitches don't come loose. Oops. Go ahead and trim the tails. Oop. Okay. I'll re-thread that. Get the other side done there. I'm going to start at the tip that time. And there we go. We've got ourselves some veins in our leaf. Tie that off at the back. Okay. And then trim tails. Okay, so then you're going to put your two leaf pieces together, and we're going to blanket stitch. Oops, I just put a knot in the middle of my thread. If I can fix that. Okay, there we go. All fixed. Alright, so make sure that you've got the front connected to the front. Alright, so I'm going to start here where that line was to tell you to stop. So I'm going to go on the inside first to bury that in there. Okay, so I'm going to come in through the back right by where I just put that stitch in, and then put your needle through the loop there. Alright, now wrap it around, pull through. So you're always going to bring your needle into the side facing you, and you're going to wrap that needle around, the thread around the needle, and pull through. You want to make sure you pull tight, but not enough that it's going to buckle. Oops, and that happens. Okay. Alright, and then you turn it. If you're having a hard time keeping them together, you could put some straight pins to hold them together. So you're going to just keep blanket stitching all the way around, and I want to show you. It's funny because each leaf winds up differently, so you can see like some of these are curling up at the ends, which make them just look more authentic, and sometimes they don't. So it all depends on how tight you pull the stitches. And then your pouch will be done. And your little Maple King will be ready to go in there. And ready. You can see why I recommend gluing the hat on. Whoops, this little tunic has risen up a little bit, that's okay. And then he'll be ready for any little finger plays that your kids want to do. And then I also gave you a bonus peg doll. You should have a fair amount of felt left. I don't know, depending on how you laid it out on here, you might have enough to do another pouch, but you have more than enough to do another tunic. If you want to do it's to make this one, so you don't need another cape, but so you do the collar, the hat, and the tunic. You have enough for sure for that. But you might be able to squeeze two more leaves. So I would recommend laying them out before cutting and seeing how you can move it around if you want two pouches or not. So I hope you enjoyed it. Please share your photos on our Facebook page and Instagram, #HappyHedgehogPost, and have fun.